Peace and blessings to anyone watching this video. Hope all is well. If it's not, I know it will be soon. In this segment, I want to go over how mental health is related to gut health. Like I said in the last video, they are best friends. They are twins. They are like this, however you want to look at it. They go hand in hand. They're a cause and effect. What you put in your mind and how your mind is feeling will have a direct effect on what's going on the inside, and vice versa. That's why it's important to eat to live. And eating goes past what you eat physically. So I'm going to be going over a couple things to show examples of how what you put in your body affects your mind and vice versa, because you are what you eat. So you want to be eating life so you can feel alive. It's really that simple. You want to eat natural things so you can always have natural behaviors, you want to eat natural things so you can feel natural and have natural feelings and not feel unnatural, being like scared or fearful or tired, or nothing's wrong with being tired, but if you're tired all the time, that's unnatural. You want to have natural feelings and natural reactions, especially after you eat. You don't want to be tired all the time. Yes, it's good, after you use your energy out for the day or after a long day, you can be tired. But if you're tired 24/7, then something is wrong. And it can be wrong mentally, meaning that, you could be starting to show signs of depression. And it could also be physically that you are eating something that's always making you tired. The itis, that's not natural. You should not be eating and get ready to fall asleep. You do that once in a blue moon during a celebration or something. I'm not going to kill you for it. Live your life to the best. But doing that 24/7, taking the Thanksgiving approach 24/7 is not good for you. It just is what it is. And you got to clean your diet up. And it goes hand in hand, because you could start to get depressed from what you're eating, because now you can start to be overweight. And you could start to look at yourself and be like, man, I don't like the way that I look. And that makes you more depressed. And now you're eating more like comfort food, or you're eating more things that make you get bigger. And it's just going back and forth. It's like, damn, I'm big. This is making me sad. Or damn, I'm breaking out. This is making me sad. I'm about to go eat something to make me feel better. And then it's like, damn, I'm breaking out again. Or it's like, damn, I'm losing a whole bunch of weight. Or you could be going through some sort of body dysmorphia or whatever. These things go hand in hand. Like, it's not just one scenario. It's not just getting big or being skinny, or even if you got a six-pack. These things all go hand in hand. So again, what you put in your stomach has an effect on your mind. So, comfort food. Comfort food. Have you ever watched one of those shows where it be like, it's showing, shows have certain stereotypical things that they have on all these shows and movies. It's like the woman had just got broken up with, and her and a friend get together and they watch something, and they're just eating a tub of ice cream, eating something that is comforting, and it's, it's kind of like, that is like something that's helping them cope in the moment. That idea or that stereotype goes way deeper than just having an ice cream after someone breaks up with you or you're sad in one moment. Like, it's something that's really deep, because our body is like a computer. We're always trying to fix ourselves. So even when you don't have a cold, even when you have like a six-pack or whatever it might be, you might not have an unhealthy body, but you can still have an unhealthy mind. You can still have an unhealthy, soul, spirit. So it goes past just your physical look. It's way deeper than that. And comfort food is dangerous, because comfort food makes you unhealthy, but you crave it because of the things going on in your mind, which is why we have to address mental health issues. We have to address things that we've normalized, and we got to denormalize them and get to the bottom. We have to get to if you want to know where something stems from, you have to get to the root of the problem. And the only way we can do that is addressing our mental health issues, because there's a lot of things that we deal with mentally that our body just goes into, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix this. And we don't, because we haven't programmed ourselves to deal with it in healthy ways, the body just fixes it any which way it knows how. So you might have learned growing up, like, okay, I saw that anytime my guardian or there was a parental older figure was dealing with something, they just drank a lot. Or they just drank a lot, and after they drank, that's how they started laughing. That's how they was in a good mood. They was all right. And as long as they had that, or they smoked a lot of weed, or they did any single type of drug, or they might have eaten a certain food, or they might have done a particular behavior, and you analyze that as a kid, you didn't realize it, and now you start to do the same thing. You don't realize it, but you're like, okay, you saw your mom stressing, and maybe she bought some hot wings every time she started stressing, and now when you start stressing, you buy hot wings. Or you saw someone that you were mimicking, because when we're kids, we're like sponges. And again, back to the drinking. And now every time you get into a certain scenario, you start drinking, because that's how you have learned to deal with the behavior. You haven't learned a healthy way of dealing with it, whatever which that might be. So that's where it comes, the whole comfort food comes in. And a lot of times after a hangover, they tell you to eat comfort food. And a lot of times a hangover stems from, a hangover can stem from a long night of drinking or crazy drinking. And we thinking that we're drinking out of enjoyment and we're just drinking because we're happy or whatever it might be. But that's just what we're thinking consciously. Subconsciously, it could be bad thoughts that you're fighting and that you're not even aware of, because you don't know they're bad thoughts. You know they're bad thoughts on the inside, and that's what makes you drink, but you don't know they're bad thoughts consciously because no one ever told you they was bad. There's plenty of things that's bad that we have been doing and do that are bad, and they affect us negatively, and we are unaware of it. We don't know that a certain behavior is bad. So we just continue on with life. It's like, that was a little sketchy, or whatever, but that happens to everybody, so no big deal. Or we aren't taught how to deal with it. So that's where a long night of drinking can come in. And you thought you were really enjoying yourself, but what you really could have been doing is trying to escape. And you may not be a drinker or a smoker or someone who does drugs. So you may not necessarily go on a long night of drinking. Your version could just be you just ordered a large pizza. Or it could just be, you're drowning it, like you just don't leave the house for 24 hours and you just watch. You just binge shows or something. You just kind of disconnect from the world. Like whatever it might be that might be an unhealthy behavior you may be doing. And sometimes if you're not doing a drug or a substance, you really can't notice it, because who's ever going to say that, it's not common for us to see somebody order a large pizza and eat it and be like, oh, yo, what you doing? Especially if they're up there, if they're slim. We see slim and it's like, oh, no, this person is healthy. But again, that don't mean they have a healthy mind or they're healthy on the inside. Their liver could be messed up and they have a six pack. It doesn't mean anything. Sometimes your body type is based on genetics. That's why we can't be conditioned to just be going after these one body types. You could get your Billy Blanks on, and you still might have a certain body type, and you're getting disappointed because you're looking at something fictional. But not to get too off topic. So the comfort food is very dangerous, and I'm gonna go over a couple comfort foods and how. So next time you go to grab it, it may help you address something that's subconsciously going on. All right. So bready foods, like let's say a sandwich. So let's say you're at work and you're stressed. You don't even know what you're stressed about, or you're dealing with something you don't even know what it is. And something is just like, man, I'm craving. That craving, that's what it is. That's the body, like something, you might have just saw something might have flashed, you might have heard a song, might have had a certain lyric, and it's triggering you or about to trigger you or it's triggering something that you're not even aware of because you just thought it was normal. And the body is like, yo, go get a grinder. And you like, what? I'm craving a grinder. Just randomly. It's like, go get a grinder. And you get that grinder. And bready foods relieves the feeling of insecurity and soothes dissatisfaction. So you'd be surprised. Pay attention to your cravings and see if this pops up. See if it's like, what could be going on? Maybe you're not feeling confident. And all of a sudden, now you want to get a grinder. Or now you want to make a sandwich. Or now you want to do, I want to get garlic bread. I want to go to Olive Garden because I'm going to be able to get mad free garlic bread. Or even like the Red Lobster biscuits. You could be trying to eat that because of some sort of insecurity. And what it is, and like I say, is really like kind of crazy because it's a double whammy. Because now you eating that can add to your insecurity, because it can, whatever it might be, if you're feeling insecure about what you see in the mirror, and now you continue to participate in unhealthy behaviors, it's not going to be an improvement. So now you can be feeling more insecure, and now you're participating in more unhealthy behaviors. It becomes like a babushka doll. Like, if you don't get it under control, just like an avalanche and a snowfall. And I'm speaking from experience, not from like a judgment perspective. Like, you go from doing one of the potential negative, whoa, I was spinning my hand for a minute. You go from doing one of the potential negative things to doing like all five, because the body is really, really trying to fix it. And this is the only way it knows how. So now you just, okay, you wasn't the drinker, but now you the drinker. And you the hot wings. And you the drugs. And you the escape. And you the binge watcher. You just doing it all. You eating hot wings, you smoking, or you doing a drug, you drinking, and you binge watching all at once. And then you ordering a pizza because you got the munchies. And you're still not dealing with your problems. Now you just like raise that to the 10th power, whatever you was going through. So you got to be conscious of that. Just pay attention. Just think about it. Next time, if you're having these crazy cravings, like, why am I craving just sandwiches out of nowhere? Why do I just want all this garlic bread? Why am I craving that Red Lobster biscuit? Whatever it might be. It could be because it relieves the feelings of insecurity and soothes dissatisfaction. Just think about that. And, as you're journaling and doing things like that, these things become easier to uncover, like what that might be. Your insecurity might not be your body. We're just kind of told that certain things are black and white. It's like, when you think of being insecure, you're thinking of your body. That's probably one of the first things you think of, and it could be a million other things. And you don't even know that it's normal to be insecure about that, or even conscious, or even to think that that's something to be insecure about consciously. But subconsciously, like on the inside, you do, and that is the disconnect. That's why you gotta be journaling, you gotta be addressing things, you gotta be seeing what triggers you, what might potentially set you off, because you never know what it might be. Chewy foods. Chewy foods relieve tension and stress and need to slow down and unwind. So think of chewing gum. Think of that annoying person when you were in elementary, high school, whatever, and how excessive they were with gum. Just think of any time you might feel the need, I want to go get some gum, or I want to go get the chewy Chips Ahoy cookies or something, or something that's gonna, whatever it might be that you take a long time to chew. I'm gonna assume gum, because gum is very popular and it is something that people run to go grab. Think about like the way that you chew the gum is your body going to tell you, like, go get that, because it knows that it'll be like a stress reliever for you. It'll help you be like, because you're going a little crazy. Like, you're doing a lot, you're doing too much. You might have a lot on your mind. It's like you could be having a million things on your mind. You just got a call that your kid was in school wilding. That's one thing. Then you got these bills, like you missed a couple days of work, you're not about to get paid, and you might be behind on these bills. That's another thing, Then you might have your check engine light on. That's another thing. You got all these things piling up, and something like the gum could be something that you're using to cope. So just think of the cravings part. Like when you're having a craving, all of these, I'm just mentioning these things that it might be the thing to help you lead to get to the bottom of one of your problems. So you might not need to go like run for this food anymore. Crunchy foods. Think of chips. Chips should be a perfect example. Popcorn, even certain candy bars. But let's say like chips, Cheetos, like any one of those foods that make a crunch, Doritos. Crunchy foods help release anxiety and social pressure. Think about how you eat and how you've eaten when finals come around. You gotta really journal this out, analyze your behavior. Like today, I was studying for my bio test and it was kind of stressful, and I grabbed this and I ate this for breakfast and I did that. That's kind of how I suggest you do your journaling, because that's really when you're gonna get to the bottom of things, because all of these things are connected. The reason why you do this is a cause and effect. Like, we start off as blank canvases, and it's like the things, our trials and tribulations, along with things that we learn, is how the canvas starts to get paint. It's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and then we are who we are, and we ideally should be changing and evolving over time. So understand this. Like, the reason why you might be going to go grab a bag of chips is because you're feeling really anxious. It's like, oh no, I might go need to grab these chips before I go to class. Because when I'm in that class, I'll be having to sit in the front. And I don't like to sit in the front because mad people gonna see me. So you know what? I'm just gonna eat my chips while I'm in the class. But at the same time though, I gotta sit up front and I don't wanna be making noise because then everybody gonna look at me. This is how anxious people think. It's like, or people who are overthinking or have social anxiety, it's like, oh, but then everybody's gonna be looking at me. And I don't really want them to be looking at me. So should I grab my chips? No, I should definitely grab my chips. And I'm just gonna eat them slightly. And and that's what's kind of going through somebody's mind, like an anxious person, for example. And like, because that's something that I would probably be thinking, depending on like where I am or what the situation is. Maybe not in class. I couldn't see myself eating in class, but like, that's what's going through the mind of people. And that chips could be the coping thing. And it's not something it's like, oh, it's eating chips. You start off as a little kid going to birthday parties eating chips. You have nothing, you start off with positive memories with this thing. So you're not going to think of it as a coping mechanism for a negative behavior. It's just not going to go that way. Even if you start off smoking weed with your friends, you still have seen some sort of propaganda at some point that told you like, smoking weed is bad in some which way. Whether they're telling you it's a gateway drug or it's a coping mechanism or whatever it might be, it still starts off with a negative thing. So you still kind of subconsciously tell yourself you're doing something bad. But chips or soda or juices or things like that, we don't have negative association. Majority of people don't start off with negative associations of these things. So we don't know that the chips, we could just be going through anxiety, and that's why we're eating 4 and 5 and 6 bags of chips, and we don't know that. And on top of that, we could be getting made fun of. It'd be crazy sometimes. It's like you be getting told you fat by like family members and stuff, and it's like, man, y'all the one who buy the food. Like this is crazy. But anyway, I'm gonna go over one more. Sugary foods help satisfy the need to give or receive love. So so you could be craving something sweet. Like for a long time, I could not stop eating Skittles. Like I used to work at this department store, and I used to at this electronics store, I should say, excuse me, and I could not stop getting Skittles. It was like one of the things that they had to like that you could grab and take out. And this thing really did have like a hold on me. Like no matter what, if I had $5 to my name, I'm about to have $3.25 because I gotta get them Skittles. I was buying them Skittles before I even knew I got a discount on them. And when I knew I got a discount, I started going crazy with the Skittles. I started getting 2 and 3 bags because it was like the price of one. And I'm eating them like 2 bags during my shift. I'm sharing them, I'm showing love. But at the same time, I'm mostly eating them during my shift. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy because Skittles aren't good for you. Like when I started eating healthier, I was still kind of addicted to candy, and I would justify it in certain ways. Like I gotta say I was addicted because I'm using certain justifications the same way like a drug addict would. Be like, man, Marshawn Lynch be eating Skittles all the time and he scored touchdowns, but that don't mean that he got a healthy mind or a healthy body. Again, the 6-pack or being strong or still being able to perform at a certain athletic level doesn't correlate to much that's going on the inside. You know what I'm saying? You can still keel over. You can still be a bad person in your mind or have bad thoughts or be negative, or you could still, have a weak spirit, poor soul, or, you're not really that a good person on the inside. So that doesn't, body type, I'm always going to stress, doesn't correlate to being healthy. So yes, I just want you to understand that I'm just going to wrap up that story by saying that I was like addicted to the candy, and I wasn't journaling and stuff at the time, but at the time of me losing like weight and getting healthier was a lot of times also dealing with things mentally. Before I even knew these things correlated, they just happened to coincidentally be lining up and me doing the same, like at the same time. So I believe that's what helped me kick the addiction. But knowing what I know now would be easier, because I would catch it. I would be like, okay, what is making me want this Skittles right now? Because there's no reason to eat Skittles. There's no way you can justify it. It doesn't do anything for the body. It has no benefits. It only has cons. There's no pros. If you try to say, why should I be eating Skittles? There's no reason to. It doesn't do anything for the body but weaken it and make it sick. So why am I doing this? And I already know that. Everyone knows that. But it's like, why am I doing this? And it would be easier to address, because I would say, okay, maybe, something happened with my parents or something, and we had a conversation and it didn't go my way, or sometimes you might just need a hug or something. You know what I'm saying? And because you can't get that hug, you might go buy some Skittles, because it sets off an emotion or something, or it triggers you in your mind, that those chemicals, to make you feel like you're getting that hug. And that's why it's comfort food. All of these things are going to comfort you. That's why your brain tells you to go get them. They're there to comfort you, to fix whatever underlying, or not to fix it, to like put the Band-Aid over it. Like it's a big scar, and it's like, man, go eat that Skittles. And it's like, ooh, can't see that scar no more. And that's why it's important to address any underlying issues, and start to clean up your diet, because cleaning up your diet can help you to think clearly, because you are what you eat. You eat clean, you're going to have a clearer mind. It just goes hand in hand. And when you start to have a clearer mind, you can start having more deeper realizations, like, like I've had it all the time with my friends. Like, they tell stories. It's like, we don't realize why we do certain things until you like go back down memory lane. And again, you want to see where things stem from. You got to get to the root. And once you do that, you're like, damn, I do this because in 3rd grade such and such happened. And once you realize that, you're conscious of it. You're no longer just unconscious of it. You might be surprised. You might not crave that Skittles anymore. You might not crave whatever. Oh, I got to go run and get a slushie real quick, or I got to go run and do this. It's like, why would you get a slushie and not just get a smoothie? Why would you like drink syrup when we could, like, why would we, like, a lot of these things, these flavored foods, like the fruit isn't crazy expensive, especially if you only going for one drink. Like if you just getting one Frosty, like why not make a homemade milkshake? Like why not, like with, plant-based ingredients? If you getting one drink, then why not, like, instead of drinking like syrup or one of these fake drinks, why not go home and make your own lemonade, or make your own homemade slushie, which is just fruit juice and ice. If you're buying a singular serving, it'll be the same price, if not cheaper. You'd be surprised, like, oh, I can get this 32-ounce drink for $4. Yeah, if you bought like one lemon, one pack of strawberries, and you already had a blender and stuff at home to mix it up, you'd be surprised how much juice you can get out of that as well. It's just about making, better choices, not changing what you like, just making healthier choices. And once you start to do that, you'll be surprised. Like you go from first you address why you even want, or why you have these certain cravings, and then you swap it out with the healthier version, and then because you are what you eat, you start to feel cleaner on the inside and outside. Clearer mind, you start to feel better about things start to become easier to deal with. You start to let go of that shadow that I keep referring to. You start to push it to the back, and things start to work out for you more in life. So I'm just gonna end that there. To go over all of this one more time, mental health is related to gut health. That is why it's called comfort food. All these things are happening in the subconscious mind, and you're not conscious of them. That's why you got to get to the bottom of the things that plague you. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a bag of chips. That's the coping mechanism, because you're not a drug user. But you don't know the bag of chips is the coping mechanism. And I want you to be aware of that. Be aware of why you want to overeat, because that's unnatural. It's unnatural to just stuff your face. But it could be mental health related. So, these are just things to keep in mind. And I'm speaking from experience here. These are things that I've learned along the way on my journey. And hopefully, me passing this on to you, I know that it can help speed up your journey. Because that's the whole goal of this. You know, if I knew the things that I knew now, I feel like I'd be way ahead of the game. And that's kind of what I want for anyone to watch this, to just speed up the journey to, like, you know, being a better you, reaching your higher self. So, peace and blessings to anyone watch this. Hope all is well. If it's not, I know it will be soon. Peace.